The content of this podcast is provided for general informational purposes only and is not intended as, nor should it be considered a substitute for professional medical advice. Hello, everyone. This is Karen Nickel, family nurse practitioner, and you are listening to Itchy and Bitchy, a podcast about menopause, perimenopause, and much, much, much more in the way of health concerns and questions. And I am going to talk to you today about yeast overgrowth. And this is something that a lot of providers will not talk to you about or be aware of necessarily. We don't have a lot of studies on this problem, and so it's not readily evaluated or treated. We're often told that yeast is supposed to be in our body, and that is not a normal flora to your body. What is yeast, actually? It is a single-cell living organism that can cause infection and disease. This organism requires a specific environment in which to grow. It thrives and flourishes in a warm, moist, dark place that has a constant food supply. So guess what? The GI tract, the vagina, and the mouth and throat are perfect homes for yeast. And if you've ever had yeast vaginitis, you know what I'm talking about. So, what puts you at increased risk for growing yeast in your body? Many of us have had antibiotics throughout our lives. Some people have had more than others, but even a single time of antibiotic use in your life can disrupt your normal flora and put you at risk for yeast overgrowth. Another factor that is really problematic is a high carbohydrate diet. It is common for people to eat a diet rich in carbohydrates, including bread, cookies, candy, cakes, pasta, rice, and especially alcohol. All of those things, those high carbohydrate diets, really feed yeast that's present in your body. So the combination of any antibiotic use history along with a high carbohydrate diet really puts you at increased risk for developing yeast overgrowth. Other things that can cause it are corticosteroids like prednisone, if you've had to take steroids in your life. Also use of birth control pills, because that our normal flora often gets disrupted with the use of birth control pills. And imbalance of good bacteria in your body for any reason, whether it's you don't take probiotics or you've had a lot of antibiotic use or you don't eat a healthy diet that lends itself to a healthy, normal flora in your gut. Having diabetes is also a risk factor for yeast overgrowth because you have higher blood sugar levels, higher levels of sugar in your tissue and in your urine, and that's a fabulous food source for yeast. So we often see more fungal and yeast infections in someone who has diabetes. A weak immune system also puts you at increased risk because your immune system just can't tamp down that organism that's in your body. Elevated stress will also increase your risk because your cortisol levels go up, and when your cortisol levels go up, your sugar levels go up, and when your sugar levels go up, again, yeast has a wonderful food source. Once someone has repeated exposure to yeast in the body, you can develop intolerances or allergies to yeast. So when we take a blood test, we will actually see Candida or yeast antibodies in the blood. So we don't test the blood for the presence of Candida or yeast. I often have patients ask me, can you check my blood to see if I have yeast in my blood? We really can't do that. We can check to see if you have antibodies to Candida or yeast. And when we have antibodies, whenever you eat something, drink something, take medications that promote yeast growth, you're going to have a lot more symptoms than somebody who doesn't have antibodies to yeast. So that risk factor really increases symptoms. So we will test Candida antibodies sometimes in the blood to see if you are going to be a person who tends to have a lot of symptoms whenever you're exposed to yeast or fungal organisms. So what are the symptoms of yeast overgrowth? There are a lot of them, and one of the main ones is brain fog or foggy thinking. And I know a lot of us experience brain fog, and that can happen for a lot of reasons. But certainly, yeast overgrowth in the body can be one of the reasons we can get brain fog or foggy thinking. Some people get a lot of GI symptoms like nausea, bloating, constipation, and or diarrhea, especially after eating or drinking foods that promote yeast growth. Yeast overgrowth can be a cause of chronic fatigue and of skin problems, including eczema or other rashes. We also see recurrent urinary tract infections, recurrent yeast vaginitis. Sometimes people don't realize that a bladder infection can be caused by yeast versus a bacteria. We also see some mood changes like irritability and mood swings, anxiety or depression, and often we will have joint pain because it's a whole inflammatory process. So at this point, you may be asking, well, Karen, can I do anything about this? Or are you going to just tell me how I suffer with yeast? So there are treatments for yeast overgrowth, and the main one clearly is changing the diet. And there are many different yeast-free diet plans or Candida diet plans that are out there online or in books, and they're all pretty similar in idea and nature. The plan I recommend to my patients is a 30-day diet, and the diet achieves the goal of starving the yeast. We're trying to take away the food source for yeast. But the best way to eliminate yeast from the body is by implementing the diet, so you starve the yeast, and taking either a prescription medication or an over-the-counter antimicrobial supplement to help kill the yeast. So we're trying to starve and kill the yeast. The foods allowed on the yeast-free diet that I recommend to my patients include meats, vegetables, dried beans, eggs, oatmeal, lemons or limes, avocados, olive oil, black olives, nut and nut butters, although I tell people to avoid peanuts because there's actually mold on peanuts. Herbal teas and seltzer are good. Coffee and tea are good, but the recommendation is not to drink decaffeinated drinks during the yeast-free diet. And natural sweeteners like stevia or xylitol are allowed. After 2 weeks, you can add the following things: fruits, with the exception of grapes, bananas, and fruit juice, and butter. I also give my patients a list of favorable, fair, and poor choices for each allowed category of food. So I want people to choose, obviously, more items from the favorable list, and some are okay to use from the fair list, and avoid poor choices on the poor list. So that helps with guidance a little bit. After this break, I will go over the foods that you will need to avoid during a yeast-free diet. I am always talking about clean eating on this podcast, and I've got a great tip for you. Green Chef is the first USDA-certified organic meal kit company. Enjoy clean ingredients that are in season so that they are always at their peak of freshness. If you want to make a great meal and save time doing it, Green Chef meal kits are pre-measured, perfectly portioned, and mostly prepped. Green Chef makes eating well easy and affordable with plans to fit every lifestyle. They have so many wonderful recipes, and you are sure to find a plan that works for you because they offer keto, paleo, vegan, and vegetarian meal kits. As a matter of fact, Green Chef is the first ever keto meal kit on the market. And with recipes averaging only 14 net carbs each, it makes sticking to a low-carb lifestyle easy. Okay, this week, my husband and I, Really just my husband, will be preparing pork chops with tzatziki, garlicky roast potatoes, and chard salad with artichokes and feta. Another yummy dish on the menu this week is Italian beef stuffed peppers with sautéed green beans with almonds. Sounds pretty good, doesn't it? These recipes contain beef and pork, but if you are not a meat eater, you can be assured that you will get the nutrients you need from Green Chef's vegan and vegetarian meals because their recipes are high in plant proteins and rich in omega-3s. Go to greenchef.com/90itchy and use code 90itchy to get $90 off, including free shipping. Go to greenchef.com/90itchy and use code 90itchy to get $90 off, including free shipping. Green Chef, the #1 meal kit for eating well. Everyone wants hair that is voluminous, full, and shiny, but don't you want it to smell wonderful too? Function of Beauty's custom hair care makes sure you don't neglect the most powerful of your body's senses, the sense of smell. Function of Beauty is the world leader in fully customized hair care. They create your unique formula based on a short but thorough quiz to give your hair everything it needs to look and feel its best. Every product is sulfate and paraben free. They're vegan and cruelty free. And Function of Beauty fans are absolutely wild about the fragrances, and for good reason. Your hair has never smelled so amazing. Try tropical mango or sweet peach, or subtler scents such as lavender or rose or eucalyptus. Crisp Pear is my fragrance of choice. It is subtle with a touch of sweetness and a dab of freshness. I love it. If fragrance is not for you, that's okay. You can get unscented as well. So turn your beauty routine into an aromatherapy session, a tropical getaway even. Go to functionofbeauty.com/itchy to take your quiz and save 20% on your first order. That applies to their full range of customized hair, skin, and body products. That's functionofbeauty.com/itchy to let them know you heard about it here and to get 20% off your first order. functionofbeauty.com/itchy. Foods to avoid on the yeast-free diet that I give to my patients include no milk or milk products. That includes cheese, yogurt, sour cream, ice cream, cottage cheese, and milk-based dressings. No bread or baked goods. It includes cereals, crackers, biscuits, rolls, flour tortillas. No grains, corn, wheat, rye, millet, rice, and barley. No pasta, potatoes, mushrooms. No sugar, of course. Again, the ultimate yeast food. Also, artificial sweeteners are not allowed, including things like NutraSweet, Sweet and Low, Equal, those things. No soft drinks, no alcohol. Again, alcohol is high in sugar content, so it's really going to promote yeast growth. This is the tough one, I think. No vinegar. When I've done the yeast-free diet, I for some reason, I find this the hardest thing because you can't use salad dressings. You can use olive oil and lemon as a salad dressing or olive oil and lime, but no vinegar, which includes pickles, green olives, salad dressing, soy sauce, mustard, mayonnaise, ketchup, salsa. So a lot of condiments. When you take vinegar away, you basically taken away most of the condiments available. So that's a little bit of a tough thing I found during the yeast-free diet. Also, no vegetable shortening, margarine, or partially hydrogenated oils. Prescriptions that I use for the 30-day yeast-free diet are nystatin, which I have them take for the whole 30 days, and I actually have them bump it up in dose 2 weeks into their 30 days. And then I follow it with diflucan, which is a once-a-day antifungal, and I do that for 7 days. Now, you want to make sure you are being followed by a medical provider when you're taking these meds, because antifungals are heavily metabolized by the liver. And we want to make sure in a blood test that your liver function is good. And we want to go through your med list and make sure you're not taking medications that will have an interaction with antifungals, because there are quite a few meds that do interact with antifungals. And you want to make sure your liver function is being monitored before and after taking each of these medications. Another option is to use over-the-counter supplements that contain herbal antimicrobials like oregano, podarco, caprylic acid, and many of them also contain gastric enzymes and or probiotics just to help with digestion and restoring the good bacteria in your gut. Some brands that are reliable include Kyolic, that's Kyolic, also Balance MD, and Apex Energetics. Kyolic has a product called Candida and Cleanse Digestion, if I can say that right, Candida and Cleanse Digestion. And Balance MD has a product called Comprehensive Fungal and Yeast Support. And Apex Energetics sells Mycozyme. So these are all antimicrobials, herbal antimicrobials that you can take instead of a prescription medication. There are some supplements out there that are designed for yeast elimination that contain licorice. And I really want you to read that bottle carefully because if you have high blood pressure, licorice will raise your blood pressure. So anyone with high blood pressure should avoid any herbal supplement that contains licorice. So if you're taking some herbal supplements at home right now and you have high blood pressure, quick grab the bottles and check for licorice, and you should not be taking those. I'm going to take a quick break right now, and when I come back, we will talk about yeast die-off symptoms. Can't wait. Ladies, I think most of us, if not all of us, have gone through the frustration of trying to find the perfect bra. Third Love uses the measurements of millions of women to design bras with all-day comfort and support that range in cup size AA to I, including half cups, and band sizes from 30 to 48. Every Third Love bra is made with memory foam cups, no slip straps, and a scratch-free band. Yes, these are great bras, but the really amazing thing that Third Love gives you is a fitting room quiz. I think most women have difficulty choosing the bra that truly fits them because we're often not exactly sure how it should fit. Their quiz is super easy and fun that focuses on size, breast shape, current fit issues, and your personal style. By completing this quiz, Third Love can give you the bra and underwear that are perfect for you. While you're taking the quiz, there are fit stylists available to answer any questions that come up. Between the quiz and the expert stylist, you never have to leave your home to find your perfect bra. From loungewear and wireless styles to their #1 rated 24/7 classic t-shirt bra, they're creating the ultimate shopping experience. What is new at Third Love? Well, premium cotton fabrics available in drapey, easy fit knits, in 100% cotton French terry, and in woven styles. These all come in sizes extra small to 3X. All in the quality and fit you expect from Third Love. They have loungewear that's made to wear everywhere, from lazy Sundays on the couch to weekend outings. You deserve a bra that is not only comfortable but high in quality, and if you don't love it, exchanges and returns are free. For me, one of the things that just absolutely seals the deal with Third Love is the fact that they're committed to giving back. They donate all of their gently used returned bras to women in need, supporting charities in their local San Francisco Bay Area and across the United States. So far, Third Love has donated over $40 million worth of bras. Third Love knows your one true fit is out there. So right now, they are offering my listeners 20% off your first order. Go to thirdlove.com/itchy now to find your perfect fitting bra and get 20% off your first order. That's thirdlove.com/itchy for 20% off today. So when we kill off yeast, we can get what we call yeast die-off symptoms. And sometimes they're called Herxheimer reaction or Herx reaction for short. The Jarisch-Herxheimer reaction was named after European dermatologists Jarisch and Herxheimer, who described in 1895 the symptoms people experienced when spirochetes died off during treatment of syphilis. So they noticed that people had all these symptoms when they were treating the syphilis, and they found it was caused by the toxins released by spirochetes. And so we can have that same problem when we are killing off yeast, because when yeast dies in the body, the organisms release toxins that cause a host of symptoms, which include fever, chills, muscle aches, weakness, a rapid heart rate, flushing, rashes, a slight decrease in blood pressure, and sometimes I'll see worsening of yeast symptoms, like flares of whatever your yeast symptoms are. So if you tend to have yeast vaginitis, it will often worsen as we start to kill off the yeast. So I don't want that to discourage you, because one way we can address that is by backing off your antimicrobial or your prescription medication that's an antifungal, and decrease the dose or stop it for a day or two, and that will slow the die-off process and improve the die-off symptoms. So there are ways around it, but I just want people to be aware that they could develop a Herx reaction when all that yeast starts dying off in your body. Because of the potential die-off symptoms with a yeast-free diet, this program is not recommended for someone who's pregnant or breastfeeding. My patients generally lose weight on this regimen because calories are cut when removing sugars and carbs from the diet, and inflammation is also reduced, which will also aid in weight loss. I do have some patients who cannot afford to lose weight because they already have a low or low normal body weight. For those patients, we work on adding some carbs like brown rice that will keep them from losing weight so quickly or losing weight at all. So there are some exceptions that can be made to help maintain weight if you're concerned about losing weight. Once you have completed the yeast-free diet, the yeast will remain under control as long as you maintain a healthy diet that is low in sugar and you are not needing to take some of the meds that I listed that will promote yeast growth, like antibiotics or corticosteroids. Once you've successfully killed off the yeast, you can bring back some foods into your diet. And I would do that one by one. So please listen to your body as you reintroduce the foods. So say you decide you want to reintroduce dairy first. Start one dairy product, and if you have a return of your symptoms that you had prior to the yeast treatment, then you are not ready to put dairy back into your diet. So if you're experiencing some, many, or all of the symptoms I talked about earlier, you might want to try a yeast-free diet for 30 days and see if it improves your symptoms. And I know it will help clean up your diet, and it will help with weight loss if that is a goal for you. And I think you'll feel better in general, and it's not something you have to maintain strictly for a long period of time, but can do for 30 days and then work to maintain a healthy and clean diet so you can avoid future yeast overgrowth. Many thanks to Green Chef, Third Love, and Function of Beauty for sponsoring today's episode. I also want to thank Forrest Wenzel, our producer and composer of our theme music. You can find more of his music on Spotify or iTunes. Just type in his name. He'll be releasing a new album soon. Please look for us on Facebook at INB Podcast, I&B Podcast. We look forward to hearing from you and getting your comments and questions. We really appreciate it. Also, I will try to post all the information about yeast-free dieting on our website, itchyandbitchy.com. Itchyandbitchy.com. I will post those pieces of information on yeast-free dieting. I hope you all had a wonderful Memorial weekend, and please remember, your health is in your hands.